and welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Star Guardian, and this is Chapter 5. So let's get started. Chapter 5, Escape Pod. We sat in the escape pod for a long time, trying to steady our breathing and listening for any signs of anything. An escape pod is not designed to be a good place to observe what is going on. It has one primary function: to allow crew or passengers to escape a ship. So we continued to wait. Then, suddenly there was a noise of explosions. It sounded like the freighter was being destroyed. At about the same time there was a whoosh sound as the escape pod we were in was automatically jettisoned out into space. I learned later it was part of the ORI safety protocols. In the event of a core explosion, all occupied escape pods were ejected. Another stroke of fortune happened that wasn't evident at the time. Thanks to the orientation of our escape pod on the freighter relative to the pirate vessels, we hurtled away from the exploding freighter on the side away from the pirates. We could have been going straight towards the pirates, but we were not. The blast from the exploding freighter mercifully hid us from the pirate vessel's sensors. Neither of us were in a state to appreciate that at the time. It is quite traumatic to be spat out into the void in a small capsule, knowing that pirates just killed all your crewmates and may still be out there. Like I said earlier, an escape pod is not good for windows. We could not see what was going on. We did not know that the pirates had killed and plundered as much as they wanted from what had been our home, and had moved their vessels back and fired their weapons at the freighter, triggering the final explosion. That was the last we knew of the pirates. Somehow, we had slipped away. We did not know if anyone else had escaped. I knew we were in a remote area of space, and probably not any better off than our likely now deceased crewmate. The interior of the escape pod was quite small, with a couple of seats surrounded by storage hatches, and in front was a small control panel. With the two of us in there, it was full, with no room to stand up. There was no artificial gravity in here, and the pod was likely spinning as it traveled. So standing up didn't make much sense. The legroom was okay, since it was built for ORI, who were taller than me. After a long while, I experimented with the control panel, and was able to bring up a view of the outside. It was black, no surprise. I soon turned it off to save power. Time passed slowly. It had been a while since we had left the freighter, and the stress and the adrenaline had worn off. We both fell asleep. We slept for a long time in the escape pod as it traveled along silently through space. The attack and the pirates were far behind us now. When I finally awoke, I turned and saw Kaluna looking at me. She still looked to be disturbed, if I was any judge of ORI facial expressions and their meanings. I sat up and turned on the control panel. I studied the readings, which were in ORI. It had been about 2 days since the explosion. Where did the time go? We were in deep space and far from anywhere. I saw that the emergency distress beacon was not active, and so I activated it. There was, of course, the risk that the pirates might detect our beacon and come after us, but I figured the risk now small enough. After all, they already got what they wanted from the freighter, and a distress call would not guarantee anything of value. To not activate it would pretty much guarantee that we would never be found. As I activated the beacon, there was little else I could think of doing, so I sat back. Kaluna spoke for the first time since we left the freighter. The air recycling is working. We have food rations that should last a while, and we don't have a change of clothing. We might smell a bit in a few days, but we'll survive for now. I should be careful what I eat, I answered, as I am different. The Ori rations may not be entirely compatible for me. So what now? Kaluna took my hand in hers and looked into my eyes and said, "The rations will be fine, Brian. I thank you for saving my life. I've had some time to process the events that happened, at least from my perspective. I don't think I would be alive if you had not brought me with you. In Ori culture, we have what we call a life debt. That means I owe you my life." Her laser-like attention was focused on me, and that made me feel strange. I blushed. "You don't owe me anything, Kaluna. I really didn't do that much. I was acting on instinct. I had missed the training on what to do when attacked by pirates. I don't even know if there is such training, and if there was, it clearly did not help the others." I was babbling, but I could not help it. When crammed into a small escape pod with another being, there is not much separation, nor can you look away easily. This was even more intimate than I had experienced recently on the freighter. At least there I had my own cabin to retreat to. I don't recall any training on pirates, and if there was, I never took it either. When I signed up, I didn't think about pirates. They don't mention it in their recruiting videos. I thought the only excitement would be in negotiating purchases of cargo. I was confused and lost in the smoke. Then you came along and pulled me into this pod. You can argue all you like, but I still owe you a life debt. I don't feel like I did anything. I feel guilty that I did not do more to save others, I said. My hand felt warm in hers. Tians rarely hold hands, so it was infinitely more noticeable to me. "A lot of good Ori citizens died a meaningless death back there," he said, sadly. "Yes, I miss Captain Jago especially. He was very kind to me. I understand now that it is normal for Ori culture, but I grew up on Tien Prime, and Tians pretty much keep their distance. The captain was the first being that was warm and friendly to me." Kaluna was still holding my hand, but she didn't let it go. In fact, she held on firmly and held my eye contact for a few moments while she continued to study my face. I felt awkward, not sure where to look. Tians do not stare in your face like that. "I agree that most Tians are not very warm, no offense meant. We Ori are not so reserved as Tians, as you have learned," she paused. "But you are not like any Tian I've known." "It is a long story," I said. She smiled at me. Her face was just inches away from me. "I'm pretty sure we have time." I had nowhere to go, and this might be the last being I would be with, so I decided to put aside my usual reserved nature and share with her. "My species is not Tian. I am human. Humans are a primitive, non-spacefaring race. About 20 cycles ago, my mother was taken from her home planet as a specimen for study by Tian scientists. They missed the fact that she was pregnant with me. I was born on Tien Prime, and thus I am a Tian by birth. I am the only non-Tian with Tian citizenship. My mother died about 4 cycles ago, leaving me the only human on Tien Prime. For a while, I lived in an orphanage. After I reached the age of maturity, I applied for work aboard the Apollo Na. For some reason, the authorities did not like the idea of me leaving the planet, but I had help from the Ori ambassador and, of course, Captain Jago. As far as I know, I'm the only spacefaring being of my species. I am also the first Tian to have served aboard an Ori vessel. Wow, that is amazing. And you have never seen your home world? Asked Kaluna. Her eyes were wide and her facial expressions captivated me. I was still not that experienced with Ori and their showing of emotions. Tiens do not show anything. My home world is Tien Prime. I saw it every day. My mother came from a planet she called Earth. I don't know where it is, and I don't care. It is not my home world. I didn't come from there, and I wouldn't fit in. I would be alien to them, and they would be primitive to me. I don't see a reason to go there. I have no connections there. It sounds like you have lived a rather lonely life. Perhaps, by Ori standards, certainly. Tiens are very reserved. Being different, it distanced me from other Tiens. They could be curious when they first met me, but most beings kept with their own. I got plenty of time to myself. Did you make any friends growing up? Not really. I interacted with my fellow students. I worked on projects with others. I learned to be as reserved as any Tien. The first real friends I experienced that you would classify as friends were aboard the Apollo Na. As I was new to the freighter, I was just getting started to develop friendship. Actually, the captain gave me an assignment to reach out and connect with the crew socially. I had to basically unlearn my Tien nature. It is difficult. Well, you can continue your assignment with me, here. I can't go anywhere. Kaluna smiled. I smiled back. I felt a bit out of my depth. My mother was the only other human I have ever known. I learned from her that humans were far less reserved with their emotions, but she was a bad example. I think her emotions led to mental health issues and caused her early demise. So, as I grew up, I followed the Tien culture, both to fit in and because it seemed more healthy. Kaluna's eyes looked sad now. Not all emotions are bad. Your mother had a hard life, and that was the true cause of her suffering. Bad things happen, just like the pirates happened to us. Perhaps time to change the topic. I did not feel like a debate. Would you tell me something about yourself? That is, if it is okay to ask, I asked. It is okay to ask, Brian. I will answer any questions you ask. I grew up in the Ori Confederation, which includes several planets, and I have lived on 2 different ones. My parents moved at one point because of their careers. I joined the Ori Merchant Guild, and I trained in purchasing, an important part of any business. My recent assignment was to the Apollo Na. What were your plans, at least before this? I was saving up to one day open my own business. I enjoy trade and could see myself doing well. Although my plans look like they are on hold now. Kaluna smiled wistfully. On hold perhaps, but not cancelled yet. While we live, there is still hope. Where did I get that? I don't know how often vessels travel this way, but it only takes one to save us, I offered, while looking in her eyes. It seemed that eye contact was an important part of Ori communication that was missing to Tiens. My thinking was it could add emphasis or verify your words were received, or something like that. I later learned there was so much more to eye contact, but for now I knew I did not want her to lose hope. I don't like feeling so helpless, waiting to be rescued, not knowing if we will even be rescued or not. The feeling of helplessness I felt was similar, but I didn't think it would help to add to the stress Kaluna was experiencing. My initial reaction as a Tien was to keep my feelings to myself, but I could tell that I needed to respond to her. Sorry, I should not have asked about your plans. I did not intend to upset you, I said. I felt awkward. No, you are doing fine, Brian. Come closer. She opened her arms to me as I shuffled closer, and she hugged me. Not since I was very young was I hugged by anyone. This was not like the hugs I recall from my mother. Kaluna was warm and soft. It felt nice. I was quietly wrapped in her arms and let the feeling sink in. "This is nice," I said. I put an arm around her. The seating in the escape pod seemed to be designed so it did not impede this close contact. Perhaps the Ori designer intended snuggling up as a way to deal with the prolonged travel in here. Time passed. I think I had dozed off for a while, and I awoke still in her arms. She leaned down and kissed me gently on the lips. I tried my best to kiss her back. We were gently making out for a while. That was new for me. Tians don't do that, I said. "Was it nice?" she asked. "Very. I think I recall my mother would kiss me on the top of my head when I was very young." "Yes, that would be another of her expressions of emotion that Tians are so afraid of," he smiled. "I am glad to be here with you, Kaluna. I think I was feeling lightheaded." "Me too." More smiles. "I really was feeling a bit fuzzy. It had been some time since I last ate. With all the recent excitement and without the timekeeping and duty shifts aboard a space vessel, meals were forgotten. As soon as I mentioned it, Kaluna got me some water and some rations to try. I drank the water and ate sparingly of the Ori ration. Kaluna made sure I ate first before she took some for herself. It did not take too long before I felt better. We were still holding each other close, and Kaluna seemed captivated with my presence. She was looking at me and smiling, and she was pleasing on the eyes herself. We kissed some more, and spent time just gazing into each other's eyes. I felt good. I wondered if we would have hooked up like this if the pirates had not attacked. I would gladly trade all the good feelings to have the pirates not attack us, and have the Apollo not intact and the crew alive. That made me feel guilty that we were alive and cozy, and they were not. "Hey, what's happened? Your face went from happy to sad really fast," Kaluna asked. "I was remembering our crewmates," I said. She hugged me tighter. I leaned my head on her shoulder. She was taller, and soon I drifted off. Well, that's the conclusion of episode 5, or chapter 5. And next episode, we'll have chapter 6, and the title there is Rescue. So you'll want to come back for that, I'm sure. And until then, I'll see you. Bye.